Hello guys, Sriram Balaji from A Express back with another biology video. So today I'm going to solve the 2-1 May June 2024 paper. So variant 1 biology MCQ May June 2024 series. So I think all the other theory papers and everything else is over for the sciences. Now it's only MCQ left. So we can just will solve some MCQ papers and just show it to you guys. And just before starting, just a warning. Those of you from India, you obviously know it's Diwali time, so there are fireworks bursting outside right now. So please forgive me if there are some interruptions in the audio, or if my background noise is quite loud. Right now it won't be that loud because it's not really night time yet, but please, if there are some fireworks, please forgive me for the inconvenience. And without further ado, let's get straight into the question paper. Okay. So a person touches a hot object and rapidly moves their hand away from the hot object. So which characteristic of living organism is this an example of? So these are the straightforward, easier questions that we can solve quite easily. So obviously not excretion because they're moving the hand away. So it's a response. Excretion, it's obviously not that because excretion is removing something that's toxic or excess in requirement to our body. We're not removing anything from the body here. So it's not that. It's obviously not growth either because there's no mention of an increase in size or dry mass or anything, so it's not growth. And it's 100% not reproduction because no offspring is being produced, which is kind of obvious. So obviously the answer here is going to be sensitivity because there's a change in the external environment. They're touching the hot object, they're having a response. And that is literally the how sensitivity works. So it's the first question, D is our answer. So which type of organisms are used in genetic modification because they have plasmids? So if you've seen my earlier biology video about genetic modification, you should know that the answer is B, bacteria. Bacteria have plasmids. They are the only organism in your IGCSE biology syllabus that you have to learn which have plasmids, which are circular form of DNA. So the answer is bacteria. We can just keep moving on. So the list shows some of the structures contained in cells. So cytoplasm, cell membrane, cell wall, and chloroplast. So they're asking how many of these are found in all living organisms. So cytoplasm is in all living organisms, cell membrane is in all living organisms, whereas cell wall and chloroplast are only found, cell wall in fungi, bacteria sometimes, and plant cells. So it's not all types. Animal cells don't have it. And chloroplast also, it's in plant cells, so it has to be cytoplasm, cell membrane. So how many? That should just be 2. Then a student draws a red blood cell. The diameter of the red blood cell they draw is 20 millimeter. The actual diameter of the red blood cell is 0.008 millimeter. So if they ask us magnification, it's just magnification equals image size by actual size. So that is essentially just 20 by 0.008. And let me just use my calculator here. I'm pretty sure the answer is D because of the decimal points. 99% sure the answer is D. D for dog. And yeah, it's 2500. So the answer is 4D. So now let's keep moving. So it's image size by actual size. This first line is image size. The second line is the actual size. So that's easy. Let's keep moving on. Okay. So samples of plant cells from the same species are immersed in 3 different liquids. The low concentration sucrose solution has a higher water potential than the plant cell cytoplasm. The high concentration sucrose solution has a lower water potential than the plant cell cytoplasm. So low concentration sucrose solution, high concentration sucrose solution. So the water potential point itself shows us that something related to osmosis is happening here. So what is the state of the cells in the different liquids? So in distilled water, the distilled water will have it's a plant cell as well. So plant cells, it's not going to burst or anything. So we need to keep in mind it's turgid, plasmalized, or flaccid, not bursting. So in distilled water, the distilled water has a higher water potential than the inside of the plant cell. And if you remember how osmosis works, the water molecules are going to move from a region of higher water potential to a region of lower water potential. down the water potential gradient across a partially permeable membrane. So it's going to move, the water is going to move from the distilled water to the plant cells. So the plant cell is going to become turgid. So it's either A or D. And then low concentration sucrose solution, the water, again, the low concentration sucrose solution has a higher water potential than the plant cell cytoplasm. So water is going to move from the sucrose solution to the plant, into the plant cell in the low concentration sucrose solution. That itself tells us our answer is 5D, because here they're saying plasmalize, that's wrong. Here all the right answers are there, so it's 5D. Okay. Which process requires energy from respiration? Straight away, I know the answer is active transport, but let me explain further. Active transport is movement from a region of lower concentration to a region of higher concentration against a concentration gradient and using the energy from respiration. So straight away, we know the answer is active transport. Diffusion, osmosis, and transpiration, none of them rely on energy. So it's 6A. So straight away, we know that. Okay, now a DNA related question of plasmid, this is normal DNA. So DNA has nitrogenous base pairs, as what you see here, CAGTG, sorry. So the nitrogenous base pairs always work like this. Adenine A always pairs with T, adenine always pairs with thymine, and guanine always pairs with cytosine. So A to T, G to C, A to T, G to C. So here it will be G, T, C, A, C, GTCAC, which is 7C. Oh, sorry, that was not very good. 7C is our answer. Let's go down. A test was performed on a food substance. A positive result was shown by color change to blue-black. So if it's a color change to blue-black, that means you're testing for starch and you've used iodine solution. So straight away 8C. A student investigates the breakdown of fats in milk by lipase. Lipase is the enzyme breaking down fats. 4 test tubes labeled A, B, C, and D are set up. In which test tube will the contents become acidic most quickly? So, why? So the conditions you need to become acidic is the fat has to be broken down by lipase. So when fat is broken down, it gives you fatty acid. I'll just write fatty acid, and then glycerol. So fatty acid, glycerol, fatty acids and glycerol. That's what you get when you break down fats. So obviously we need the milk to be present. So the answer definitely cannot be D. Then so it's either A, B, or C. Then now we'll narrow it down. So bile also helps break down fats. So most quickly. So you need the most effective breakdown of fats. So bile also helps break down fats. C says bile does not have to be present for it to become acidic most quickly, which is not true. Bile needs to be present because it also contains enzymes that break down larger globules of fat to smaller globules of fat. So that's there. And then finally, then it can't be B either, because B is saying you should boil the lipase, which is wrong. If you boil the lipase, the active site, the enzyme is going to denature, meaning the shape of the active site is going to change, and then the breakdown of fats won't occur. So actually the answer should be 9A here. Should be 9A. Then, okay. The diagram shows an experiment to investigate the effect of increasing light intensity on the rate of photosynthesis in an aquatic plant. The rate is found by measuring the rate of bubble release by the plant. Okay, so effect of increasing light intensity, rate of photosynthesis. Measuring the rate of bubble release. As light intensity increases, rate of... Okay. So, which statement describes why the rate of bubble release becomes constant at high light intensities? Okay. So, here, let's see. Which statement describes why the rate of bubble release becomes constant at high light intensities? Okay, so light intensity becomes a limiting factor. That is not so. Limiting factor is anything that's present in such small amounts that is restricting a certain life process. So obviously, it cannot be light intensity because light intensity is what's being increased. So there's no dearth of light intensity. Even as it's increasing, this stays constant. Then water availability is also not a limiting factor. Oxygen is not a limiting factor for sure because oxygen doesn't even affect photosynthesis. And then water availability is also not a factor. So here carbon dioxide concentration is the limiting factor. It's present in smaller amounts, especially because it's in the water. All the carbon dioxide will be used up, then there won't be enough left. So it's present in small amounts, so it's 10A. And okay, so one shows a chloroplast. So one is chloroplast. Okay, one is a chloroplast. 2 is a vascular bundle, if I'm not wrong, but it does not help do photosynthesis. 2 is not a vascular bundle. I think 3 is a vascular bundle, but it does not do photosynthesis. That much I'm sure of. And 3 also doesn't do photosynthesis because I'm pretty sure 3 is the vascular bundle. Vascular bundles don't do photosynthesis. And finally, 4 also has chloroplasts. So 4 will definitely help. So it's 1 and 4, which is 11B is our answer. Let's keep going. Okay. So which label path stores bile? That's straight away no-brainer answer. 12C, the gallbladder stores bile made by the liver, stored by gallbladder, which is C. B is the pancreas, A is the stomach, D is the liver. Okay. So some statements about villi here. So which statements explain the role of villi in humans? So increase efficiency of absorption of nutrients. That is absolutely true. It has microvilli and has other such adaptations to increase efficiency of absorption. So this first statement is true. Then villi increase the efficiency of the alveoli during gas exchange. Okay, so that is not actually true. That's not the villi, so we can't actually say that. So second statement is not true. And then villi provide a large surface area. That is true because the microvilli present on the surface, it has a large surface area. Villi filter urea from the blood. That is also not true. That is done by nephrons. And that is not done by the villi. So it's 1 and 3. Again, it's 13B. 1 second, let me just check if yeah, okay. It's 13B. Okay. So which diagram shows shows carbohydrate molecules as they pass through the alimentary canal. Which row represents the molecules correctly? Okay, so before taking into the mouth, it will be all joined together. So it can't be D. It will be all together when it's in the mouth. Then after some time in the mouth, it breaks up a little bit, but not completely. In the mouth, the saliva contains amylase, so it will break down to an extent. So straight away, you can say the first two are wrong because saliva, we have saliva, right? Obviously, we all know that. So let me write that properly. We have saliva, which has amylase. So it'll be B, our answer, because it'll break down a little bit in the mouth. It won't break down completely. It's smallest intestine. You have more enzymes. Breaks down completely, so it has to be B. 14B. Keep moving on. 15th question. Which row shows correct information about 3 digestive enzymes in humans? So lipase acts in acidic conditions. Okay. Secreted by the pancreas, secreted by the small intestine. No. These are not, okay, we'll leave that. Maltase acts in the stomach, secreted in the mouth, acts in alkaline conditions. Okay, trypsin secreted by the pancreas, acts in acidic conditions, secreted in the stomach, acts in alkaline conditions. So trypsin, this is wrong because trypsin is not secreted in the stomach and it does not act in acidic conditions either. And that's wrong. And maltase does not act in the stomach. So straight away those 4 are wrong. 15D. Lipase acts in the small intestine. Maltase also acts in the small intestine. Trypsin acts in alkaline conditions. When you form chyne, which is when what comes in the stomach is neutralized by bile. Bile also helps neutralize that acidic mixture because the dilute acids in your stomach make the food mixture acidic. The bile will neutralize it, which forms alkaline conditions in which trypsin can act. So which substance found in a healthy diet helps to prevent constipation? So if you see anything related to constipation, preventing it, it's fibers. So fibers, essentially your body, the alimentary canal, the muscles do peristaltic motion or peristaltic like motion. So this helps move food down the canal. So fibers allow your body to do peristaltic motion more and more effectively, preventing constipation. That's why you need to have lots of fiber when you're constipated. 17C. No, not when you have constipation, like to prevent constipation. When is the transpiration rate of a well-watered plant highest? So it should be a dry day, because if it's a wet day, that means the humidity of the atmosphere is higher. So the water potential of the surroundings is higher. So instead of water moving from the plant to the outside, now there's actually a less steep water potential gradient. So it won't transpiration won't occur. So it can't be BRD. So it has to be a hot day because you need a higher temperature. It needs to be dry for lower humidity. Windy because wind speed takes away water molecules. So 17C. Let me just circle that better. 17C. Let's keep moving. Which statement is correct for flowering plant during photosynthesis? The flowers, fruits, leaves, and roots are all sources of sucrose. No, the roots are not a source of sucrose during photosynthesis. Neither are the flowers. Then the fruits are a source of sucrose, and the flowers are a sink. No, that is also not true, because the fruits are not a source of sucrose. 18C. The leaves are a source of sucrose, and the fruits are a sink. This point is correct. And finally, D, again, if it's during photosynthesis, the roots cannot be a source and the leaves cannot be a sink. So the leaves are a source of sucrose and the fruits are a sink. That's what gives fruits that sweet flavor that we all like. So what is an advantage? Having a double circulatory system. So this is essentially when the blood passes through the heart twice during a circle of the body. Uses less energy because blood flows through the heart. Okay, that's not true because it's in the name, it's double. It doesn't flow through the heart only once. That is wrong. So concentration gradients of solutes and gases are kept low. No, that is also not right. Deoxygenated and oxygenated blood are separated to allow a high rate of oxygen supply to the tissues. This is true. 19C is correct. Maintains high pressure blood flow to the lungs and low pressure blood flow to the body. That is not true. It's actually high pressure blood flow to the body. So in organisms with a double circulatory system, you have a septum, which is a muscular wall that separates the left side and the right side of the heart. So essentially it separates deoxygenated and oxygenated blood. So the statement C is true and it is an actual advantage. So 19C. Now, okay, so 20th one. Which part is blocked in coronary heart disease? The coronary artery is what has to be blocked here. So it's not A, because A is not the coronary artery. It's not D either. D is a pulmonary vessel. It's not C. C is in vena cava. So it's B. B is the coronary artery, that little branching artery you see on the heart. So it's 20B. 21st one. One of the symptoms of the disease cholera is diarrhea. This is due to water loss by osmosis caused by cholera toxin. What is the effect of cholera toxin that results in diarrhea? So before I see the answers, cholera toxin actually is going to secrete chloride ions into the small intestine and it's going to lower the water potential, causing water to be dragged in. So the answer is going to be C. Straight away I can tell you that. I just explained it. So it secretes chloride ions into the lumen of the small intestine. So there's a higher concentration of chloride ions. Obviously the water potential is going to be lower. So when that happens, osmosis occurs and water is brought into the small intestine, and then this is going to cause diarrhea, like watery feces. So 21C. Which statement about immunity is correct? A part of the antibody molecule has the same shape as the antigen it acts on. No, the antibody molecule itself has a particular, sorry, what am I saying? No, that is not true. They have complementary shapes, not the same shape. Babies develop passive immunity from the antibodies they receive in breast milk. That is true. It's not long-term passive immunity, so that is true. Phagocytes produce antibodies. That is not true. They do phagocytosis, engulfing the pathogens. So that is not true. Vaccines contain weakened antibodies. That is not true. They contain weakened or less virulent viruses. So it's 22B. 23. What are the functions of the diaphragm and the cilia in the human gas exchange system? So diaphragm, okay, so when you're breathing in, the diaphragm is going to contract because you need to increase your thorax volume and decrease the thorax pressure because you want air to flow down a pressure gradient. So it has to contract to cause breathing in. So that part is true. This is true. And cilia carries mucus to the throat. That is also true. So it's straight away A. Let's see why the other answers are wrong though. First of all, diaphragm does not contract to cause breathing out, and it does not relax to cause breathing in. Cilia does not produce mucus, and it does not filter dust from the air. It does not trap bacteria from the air. It just carries mucus to the throat. So 23A. 24. Vigorous exercise can cause an oxygen debt. Which process removes the oxygen debt? So aerobic respiration of lactic acid in the liver. That's like the right answer. I know that. A decrease in breathing rate. That's not true because your blood is going to be oxygenated less, which is actually going to increase your oxygen debt. Decrease in heart rate. Again, the oxygenated blood won't be supplied as much, which will again increase your oxygen debt. And again, the blood containing the lactic acid won't be taken to the liver. And an increase in blood supply to the skin just simply is not right. That doesn't make sense. So aerobic respiration helps break down lactic acid. That is done in the liver. So it's 24A. 25. So in healthy people, which substance is completely reabsorbed into the blood from the kidney or nephrons? This should be glucose. Our answer should be glucose here. Urea, salts and water. So urea should not be reabsorbed at all. Water and salts, most of it should be reabsorbed, but some of it is left in the urine. So urea, salts, water should not be completely reabsorbed as they're asking. Only glucose should be. If glucose isn't fully reabsorbed, that means you have diabetes. And I'm not joking, that's like the actual problem. If there is glucose present in your urine, you have diabetes. Then 26. So what would be the pupil size and lens shape of a person reading a mobile phone text message in a brightly lit room? So brightly lit, so it's not dark. So your pupils will be small because you are trying to let less light in, because obviously it's already well lit. You're not trying to make sense of your surroundings by letting more light in, so it has to be small. Straight away A and B are wrong. This is an easier method. Then instead of like sometimes you're trying to go faster and you like know some answers are obviously wrong, just try to cut out the wrong answers by like basic knowledge. Then lens shape should be fat, so it should be wider because the mobile phone text message is smaller. You're holding closer to yourself, so it should be fatter when the object is closer to you. The light rays are gonna diffract more, so it should be C. 26C. 27C. Maintain constant internal. How does the body maintain a constant internal temperature on a hot day? So I already shown vasoconstriction. So if on a hot day you're trying to maintain your body with a cool temperature, so vasodilation is going to occur to allow your blood to flow closer to the skin surface, so more heat can escape by conduction, convection, or radiation. So vasodilation increases blood flow to the skin surface capillaries. 27C straight away. We know the answer. 28. What would lead to a decrease in blood glucose concentration? So again, it's just going to be increased release of insulin, because if you know the homeostasis process, the pancreas beta cells, they release either insulin or glucagon. So if there's a higher blood glucose concentration, that means insulin needs to be released, and the insulin induces the liver to convert glucose to glycogen, decreasing blood glucose concentration. Vice versa is done by glucagon. Glucagon, if there's a low blood sugar level, you need more blood sugar. Glucagon will go to the liver, induce it to convert glycogen into glucose, increasing blood glucose. But here they've asked decrease, so it has to be increased release of insulin. Very sorry. So increased release of amylase is just not right. I'm just going to tell you why the others are wrong. I already explained the glucagon point. Adrenaline will actually increase your blood glucose concentration. Amylase is an enzyme, so no. Just no. Then which statement about antibiotics is correct? Antibiotics do not affect bacteria but kill viruses. That is not true. They actually kill bacteria and not viruses. So it's 29D. They don't kill both. They only kill bacteria, and it is also not true. So it's 29D. 30. So 30. That's a pollen grain at the top from another flower. That's a pollen grain. There we have the ovules and ovaries in this region, and so that part is actually the pollen tube. That's 30C, and the pollen tube, the pollen is going to break, taking the male gamete to the female gamete, which is within the ovule. So, and that will form a seed. Then the table shows the percentage of sperm with different abnormalities. Okay, this is a big question, isn't it? Okay, the table shows the percentage of sperm with different abnormalities in samples from a person with normal fertility and 2 people with low fertility. Okay, so this is a very, very lengthy question, isn't it? Okay, so person P. Percentage of sperm with no acrosome. 25% of the sperm has no acrosome. Acrosome is what contains the enzymes to digest the jelly coat of egg cell. Okay. Okay, so person Q, their main problem is person Q's main problem is deformed flagellum, and lower mitochondria is also significant. For this person, person P, it's the percentage of sperm with no acrosome is higher, and so the movement is not an issue. So it's not C or D for person P. For them, it's too many sperm cannot digest. So it's either A or B is our answer. That much I can tell from this minimal investigation. Person Q, the problem is going to be it cannot move to the oviduct. So the answer will be 31B. So guys, again, you saw me, I got kind of flustered when it's a big question, but just kind of like read what the answers are asking you to find, and it's very, very simple. Like right now, you need like I could just see these two are the same value. This is higher, so obviously it's going to have a movement issue. This is also higher, so it's going to have a digestion of jelly coat, that jelly coat issue. So that's straight away 31B. 32. Which word is used to describe stem cells? So they're unspecialized. So 32D. Sorry guys, I'm going a bit fast. These answers are quite obvious. These kind of questions I can't really explain. It'll just be there in the portions you need to study it. So stem cells are what differentiate and form specialized cells. So they're not gametes, and they're not haploid, and they are not homozygous. They can differentiate, etc. So, and they're unspecialized. They form specialized cells. 32D. 33. Okay, so which line represents progesterone? Okay, so progesterone does not peak at day 14. That is the hormone that causes ovulation, which is not progesterone. Progesterone increases after the 14th day to maintain the uterine lining, etc., for implantation, etc. So it's going to be 33B. Again, this kind of graph you need to study from your portions. This is estrogen. See, the graph is estrogen. Then let's just keep moving down. Okay, pedigree diagrams. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay. What? Okay, so the pedigree diagram shows the pattern of inheritance of a genetic disorder in 4 families. It is not sex linked, so it's not more likely for one gender than the other. It's equally as likely. Gender doesn't matter in this. So which pedigree diagram proves that genetic disorder must be caused by dominant allele? Okay, so okay, so this person, okay, sorry, I'm just processing this. Okay, so if it's not, so if they don't have a genetic disorder, it's like it is both recessive. So AA, and if this is if you have it, has to be like this. So this will go like that, and that. So in this, only one is caused by the dominant allele. So that can't be it. And there are 3 offspring. Only one of them has it. So that can't be it. Okay. Then The C is just not right, because that won't help you prove that it's caused by dominant allele, because everyone has it. So like both the parents have it, so obviously the children will also have it. So that doesn't prove that it's only caused by dominant allele. Okay, so so here the combination will be A, because you can't have single dominant allele here, and you wouldn't have an unaffected offspring if this was homozygous. So it has to be like this. So yeah, when you do that, you get two offspring as which are affected, which is what's suggested by the monohybrid cross that I drew there. So actually 34D is going to be our answer. So why that is on A, if you see the monohybrid cross, it's actually this will form AA, which is a person that's going to be affected, AA, again AA, and then again AA. So, but if you see the offspring, only one is affected. So that doesn't suggest that it's caused by the dominant allele. It doesn't prove that. B also doesn't prove that. It's like a similar case, a similar scenario, where it's like only one offspring. But if you see D and C also, it's like every single thing is like having it, so you can't really prove it. But D, if you see that, the two of the offspring out of three are affected. More of them are affected, and when both and then here when both are affected, so and they have one normal offspring, so they are both heterozygous. So it's like A. You have two affected and one normal. So it's caused by the dominant allele, not the recessive allele. So we have proved that. So it's 34D. This one's a bit of a lengthy question. You have to think a little bit, but still we got it right. So 35. What are correct statements about meiosis? So they produce genetically identical cells. That is not true. That's mitosis. Meiosis produces genetically different cells. So it's C or D. Involved in repair damage tissues? No. So it's no, which is 35D. 36. Okay. Leafy sea dragons lives in areas of the sea where seaweed is present. Okay. Leafy sea dragons that look like seaweed were better adapted to their environment. Okay. Leafy sea dragons that survived passed on the allele for that. Okay, so this is natural selection, the explanation. So yeah, so first they have an adaptation, better adapted to the environment. They survive, they pass on the allele. And then, so this is natural selection. So straight away, because I mentioned natural selection, that third point suggests artificial, which is not true. So any option with 3 is wrong. Leaving B, and also these two are points at natural selection. They are true. So 36 has to be B. So what is the main source of energy input to biological systems? So the main source of energy is always going to be the sun. If you've learned the theory, that's always true. It's what gives the energy in the form of light energy. Then it's converted to chemical energy and so on and so forth. So it's always the main source of energy input to any biological system. So 37D. 38. Okay, so 38, which organisms remove nitrate ions of soil? That's going to be denitrifying bacteria. So anything without denitrifying bacteria is wrong. So denitrifying bacteria and nitrogen fixing bacteria will actually increase the concentration of nitrate ions. That's wrong. That's 38B. Plants also, they take nitrate ions out and form proteins. So they are also removing nitrate ions. So 38B. 39. 2 reasons for organisms becoming endangered. So habitat destruction is true. Monitoring, education, captive breeding programs are ways to conserve species. So it's not that. It's 1 and 4, which is 39A. And 40. Last question. Choosing cattle. What is the example of the use of genetic modification in agriculture? So choosing cattle to breed so that alleles of high milk yield will be passed on to the offspring. That is not genetic modification, that's just artificial selection. So that's wrong. Then 40. Increasing food production by using insecticides. That's also, we're not genetically modifying anything there. Genetic modifying means inserting, removing, or changing individual genes. Just like I said, inserting a gene into crop plants to improve the nutritional qualities of plant. That is true. That you have the BT cotton, you have golden rice, and such examples. Selecting crop plants with desirable characteristics and crossing these. So that's also again artificial selection, and that is not genetic modification. Genetic modification, again, I'm just gonna subtly plug my video. If you've watched our genetic modification video, you need to insert, change, or remove individual genes. If you haven't watched it, please go check it out. It's quite short. It's a really short video. You can check it out. And okay, that brings us to the end of the 2-1 May June 2024 biology MCQ paper. I hope you guys understood. Please put any questions you have down in the comments, and please consider subscribing. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye bye.